Life flows on the river of purpose. We're all carried by the uncertainty of its own unfolding. Chasing purpose is all about nurturing faith, setting intentions, pursuing aspirations, all while living boldly. Chasing Purpose aims to inspire, uplift, and empower people through real-life stories. Stories that encapsulate life's memorable moments and enduring life lessons. Chasing Purpose with host Cynthia Shea.
Love is patient. Love is kind. It does not envy. It does not boast. It is not proud. Love does not dishonor others. It is not self-seeking. It is not easily angered. It keeps no record of wrongs. Love does not delight in evil, but rejoices with the truth. It always protects, always trusts, always hopes, always perseveres. Love never fails. But where there are prophecies, they will cease. Where there are tongues, they will be still. Where there is knowledge, it will pass away. For we know in part, and we prophesy in part, but when completeness comes, what is in part disappears. When I was a child, I talked like a child. I thought like a child. I reasoned like a child. When I became a woman, I put the ways of childhood behind me. For now we see only a reflection as in a mirror, that we shall see face to face. Now I know in part, that I shall know fully, even as I am fully known. And now these three things remain: faith, hope, and love. But the greatest of these is love. This is my absolute favorite Bible verse and explanation of the word love. 1 Corinthians chapter 13. This was exactly the scripture that was read at my wedding, and many weddings, I'm sure. And each time I read this Bible verse, I get overwhelmed with so much emotion. The greatest of these is love. Welcome to Chasing Purpose, a journey of self-development, self-love, healing, and spirituality. Each week we aim to empower and uplift you through thought-provoking conversations surrounding our four pillars: nurturing faith, pursuing aspirations, setting intentions, all while we are living boldly. On last week's show, we were joined by the lovely Dr. Charles, who shared insight on personality disorder and attachment styles. Here is our purpose poll from last week.
We tend to make up a lot of negative things.
Yes.
And it's a cognitive distortion called fortune telling, where you make up a predicted outcome. You know, oh, what if that happens? I think that's going to happen. And you focus on that. So just because you feel insecure, or you feel sad, or you feel angry, you're reacting to a thought that you made up. It's not real. It's a misperception.
Remember to subscribe to our channel, YouTube channel, Chasing Purpose with Cynthia Shea Clark. There you will find all of our episodes. It is March, and this month is recognized as Women's History Month. The month highlights the contributions of women to events in history and contemporary society. Today we are highlighting and celebrating a woman who has contributed tremendously to society and has impacted many through her music. Standing girl out here. We are joined by the incomparable reggae artist, Queen Ifrica. Queen Ifrica is known for her many hits like Times Like These, Lioness on the Rise, Daddy, and many, many, many others. Not to mention the epic entrance into as many rebel salutes. I mean, hello. Queen Ifrica is with us today, guys. I'm so excited. Hi, Queen. Welcome to Chasing
That was
Purpose.
awesome just now.
Oh my God, I'm so excited. All right, today we are talking about love. What does the word love mean to you?
Everything. I mean, it's the easiest thing and it's the hardest thing, that four-letter word, love, you know? And it depends on where your head is when you're dealing with it.
Mindset.
So, yeah, love is everything to me.
Do you think in order for us to love, we have to allow ourselves to be vulnerable?
Yes. Even if you don't allow yourself to be vulnerable, at some points in our life we become. And in that moment is when you should really explore what it means to love.
Share a time where you have felt this vulnerability as it pertains to love.
There's so many times, but I think the most profound one is since meeting my now spouse, Tony Rebel. Yeah, like that was my truest experience of love.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. All right, so you spoke just recently about mindsets. Talk to me about what type of mindset does one need to be in to find love?
The unconditional one. Yes, so there's an unconditional approach that you have to take in terms of to find your personal love for your personal self. The reason for that unconditional approach is the fact that it's hard for us as humans to accept the wrong about ourselves. And sometimes it is in that moment of you accepting that wrong about yourself, is in that moment you find if you love or not yourself, if you're following. So when you understand that to have that saying that we take for granted, that change begins with me, it is so true, because that's when you're now going to look in this mirror self before you can look in the outer one. So yeah, that unconditional approach to how you love self.
I didn't say this earlier, but please make sure that you have your pens and your journals, your water, your wine, whatever it is that you're drinking, because Queen is going to drop gems. All right, talking about that, what I heard there was self-acceptance.
Yes.
Right? In order for us to really find that true acceptance of ourselves, to attract that love, right? Yeah. How can we show, or what are the steps that we need to take to first accept who we are and those wrongs?
So, especially for people who have had traumatic experiences in their lives, it's very easy to play self-pity games. So you find a lot of excuses for the bad things you do as a person, because you think or you say to yourself that you have enough reasons to be the way you want to be because of what you went through. I think right there is where we need to look. You know, when you can look to you, the person, and say, despite all the things and all the reasons I have to behave and act the way I am, is it helping my situation? Is it making it better? Is it helping my surroundings? Am I getting the justification that I'm looking for? And if you're not willing and able as a person, and it's hard for some people because it's easy to criticize a person next to you, but just to look at you and to say, girl, you know, what am I doing? It's hard for a lot of people. And I think that is one of the reasons why that negativity is fed so strongly in terms of people wanting change, but not being willing to be the first person to try to make that step for you first, you know? It starts with you. Yeah. It starts with you. And let's even go a bit further back, right? A mother's love. Yes. A mother's love. It starts with a mother's love and how a mother nurtures oneself. So how is it that, how do you think a mother's love shapes how we turn around then in love? Well, life, I think, has hampered and tampered with a mother's love in many ways. A woman who becomes a mother in many different aspects of her life. She becomes a mother when she was in school. She becomes a mother when she wasn't ready. And so she has to now become responsible for that life that came from her body. And now that life don't care what she's going through. Yeah. That person that comes from that mother is looking there for that warmth, that comfort through it all. And that mother hasn't gotten hers as yet. So you find that a lot of relationships, like for instance with especially daughters and mothers, that strong need for that emotional connection is what causes that such a great divide, because the mother doesn't want to give up on all she has sacrificed. The daughter thinks that doesn't matter what you went through, you're my mom, you're supposed to be there. And so there's no balance that is struck there, and sometimes the mom dies and the daughter didn't get a chance to tell her, vice versa, and so you find the cycle continues. So I think for mothers and daughters in this case, children in general, but we're talking now, love and purpose seems to be attached closer to women in terms of what it means. So for sisters who have problems and issues with their daughters, I think at some stage in our life as the adults that have the children, we have to step back just to give them, you know, the security that we understand that as much as we have a right to gloat about our situations, they have nowhere else to turn but us. And I think taking ourselves out of the picture, learning to take yourself out of a situation and see somebody else's is a beautiful approach, you know, to get to some of these things that we yearn for, where love and appreciation is concerned.
That sounds like grace. Giving others grace, that sounds like empathy, right?
Yes.
And may I even say compassion, which is something I think the world, I feel we've gotten lost along our ways as it pertains to those three very, I think, critical things on this journey.
And simple too, you know.
And exactly.
It's simple. I mean, a person sitting here and watching us might say, yeah, Queen, it's easy for you to say it's simple because I've been trying all my life. But as I said before, I am not speaking from a person who just boom out of heaven and just landed on earth. I know I'm an angel. But I've experienced realities in my life, and I've experienced stuff in my life that I had to go to me to really understand what clarity really means and how do you save yourself enough to go to the next level of your life. Because as long as you have life, as long as you have breath, you're going to have things and issues to deal with, you know?
And I want to talk about trauma in love. A lot of women have experienced trauma. I certainly have. Sexual trauma.
Yes.
And as we're talking about love.
Yes.
You know, a lot of women who experience sexual trauma, they, as you said, they kind of, they don't feel like they can share, or they revert, or they run the complete opposite end of the most, you know? Yes. But what advice would you give a woman, someone right now who has just been victimized and just does not know, wants to move past it, wants love, yearning for love, but just does not know what to do or where to go? What advice would you give them?
Boy, I tell you, like, what do you say to a person like that?
To me, what do you say to me? About I found love. Hey, Bob.
Hey, Tony. I found love. But it is hard to answer a question like that because of the process that it takes to bring you to a place where you can say, you know, someone else decide to love myself through it.
I can love myself through it.
I decided you have to love yourself through it all. If you at any moment stop loving you, it all goes to naught. Everything stops at you not figuring out how to love you, because sexual abuse, rape, incest, it's the nastiest thing that could happen to any individual, whether boy or girl. Yeah, so there's a blame that comes with it, and the blame is, you must have done something to cause this to happen to you. It's the worst thing anybody who have ever experienced sexual abuse can hear coming in their ears, and especially when you hear it coming from people like a mom or somebody that you expect to understand that I'm telling you something that is killing me right here, right now, and this is what you say to me. So I'd love to say to that individual who thinks that, you know, it's their fault, and so therefore the next thing to do is to become a prostitute, become promiscuous, not to respect yourself. As a man says, you think that they love you. You're not going to end up anywhere good, you know? Just accept that it happened. It happened. Doesn't matter how dark, doesn't matter how gruesome it is, it happened. And life continues, and your life continues, and the joy that you wanted for yourself before it happened continues. So you now have to tap into what it means to freeze a moment and take control of your situation, by extension your life. That's like the nutshellest thing I can say as a person who have done it myself, who have gone to the edge of maybe not coming back, you know, with not just not accepting what happened to me. Like, why me? Like, so much other girl did that here. Why me? And so all of this. So I've learned over the years to not ask why me, but ask why not, you know? And in that, you find, I created a phrase from mine that I was the puppy at the airport that took all the drugs so that no other, you know, drug could pass through. So you find different ways, coping mechanisms, but you make sure it's not self-destructive. You make sure that at the end of the day, you can find yourself in all of it.
You can find yourself in all of it.
Yes.
A gem, beyond a gem. With that, we're going to jump to a quick commercial break with more with the awesome Queen Ifrica on Chasing Purpose. Welcome back to Chasing Purpose, heard right here in Jamaica on the Bridge 99 FM and in the New York tri-state area on Irie Jam Radio. I have the absolute pleasure and honor to sit down with none other than Queen Ifrica, and we're talking about love. But before we went to break, Queen, we were talking about trauma, sexual trauma. Can't hide it, can't go around it. We are victors. We're not victims, we're victors. You spoke about a coping mechanism, or coming up with a coping mechanism. Take us through what your coping mechanism was.
Well, it wasn't alcohol and it wasn't drugs, but marijuana because I love the energy from it. The coping mechanisms was constantly reminding myself that this was not my fault. That I was not wearing the wrong clothes. That it wasn't my fault that I was left alone with this man on that particular day. And the fact that I was about 10 years of age make it even worse. I was a baby. I did not even understand what it meant to be sexually active, what says to be locked down for 3 days, drugged for 3 days. The only time that I came to consciousness was to maybe pee or something, and I was vomiting a lot of some green stuff. Until this day, I can't eat like raw marijuana, like just some herb, like chew on some herb. I can't do that because that is what was used in the concussion that had me in the state. And this man is my stepdad. This man who is somebody who is supposed to be my father. So yeah, that's one of the incidents that I can say. I can talk a little bit about in terms of the actual thing that happened, and as you mentioned, coping. You know, because as I said earlier about my mom did not believe me. How my mom found out, she caught him one day. That's how she found out. I was trying to tell her all this time that this was happening, and a lot of mothers in Jamaica and the world over, they do not believe. If your daughter or your son come to you and tell you that somebody is sexually molesting them, look into it and stop running the kid away and telling them that them chat too much, or if you speak properly, it's not the time for this. Don't say stuff like that. How could you? They are going through something, you know, and it took my mom to catch this man, for her to really believe me that it was happening to me. And even in the moment that she caught him, she was still saying that I must have been in a compromising position for this to happen. At 10. You know, so this is why I don't talk about the gruesome details of the act.
But let me ask you, what would the mindset be, or what would be instilled in a mother's head that they would lay blame?
You know what? I think for my mother's case, most of Jamaican mothers, Jamaican women are always looking for their dads or a male figure in them life. to fulfill something that's missing there. And a lot of times a man comes along and they think that this is the man that's going to give them that. And even if you are their child, and you are going to be a threat to this comfort, this thing that they've been searching for, they are not going to accept it so openly. And it is very sad, mothers. It's very sad. You're creating generations and generations of mothers that are detached from their own children because they don't know what it feels like to forgive. They don't know what it feels like to be loved and for somebody to tell them that it wasn't your fault. I'm sorry this happened to you. Oh my God. You mothers who do this and continue to take the man money, continue to take the position, continue to live this kind of lifestyle so that people think that you have a happy family, stop it, because a generation down the road coming is going to be worse than what we have on our hands today. And it is simple things like that. Us women really and truly taking our expectations out of the picture, because it could be happening with me and my daughter who is 21 years now. It could be happening with me and her if I did not know what it means to forgive and to understand and to accept, the things that happen to us in our life journey.
That word forgive, was it easy for you to forgive? Have you found forgiveness?
No, and I haven't forgiven a lot of some of them either, but I forgave my stepdad before he died. Something serious must have happened to this man for him to, because what happened was, it comes back to trust. My mom trusted him to leave me with him. She had, at this stage, she had a daughter with him and she had a son with him. So she was thinking father, but he wasn't. There's another thing about us here in Jamaica where these dirty men have this habit to say, you can't fat and foul for mongoose. And if the kid is not if the kid is not your biological kid, that child feels it worse than even the biological child, because this man is saying, you're not my picnic. So based on the fact say, you're not my picnic, I can do as I like with you because I take care of your mother and everything already. So I just want to seal that by saying, forgive those who have trespassed against you in the worst kind of ways, because that forgiveness is what gives you your right to be here, because when you don't forgive them and you walk around, they forget what they did to you. They moved on because that's what they do. But you walking around with that baggage in your belly and in your heart and feeling like you're not enough is on you. You fix that. Nobody, no therapist, no friend, no family member. Is you have to fix that in order to live another day.
You touched on something that I was just speaking about as it pertains to something must have happened traumatic to him, or he must have seen, or something happened to him. Right?
Yes.
I said the very same thing just this week, as after whatever took place in my situation.
Yes.
As I'm walking out of the apartment that it happened, all I could see is two headbacks playing video games. Not even a care
in the
world that my entire life just got shook up. And not a goodbye, not a nothing. And this is somebody supposed to be my boyfriend and his friend.
Yes. And who do you turn to? So this is what we're asking on this. Seeking purpose, finding purpose, chasing purpose. Your purpose is your right. So even if somebody rape you, sodomize you, do you the worst thing, never forget what your purpose was. You came here for something special and it was interrupted. And you are not what happened to you. Keep on telling yourself, keep on reminding yourself that I am not what happened to me. And in that way, I am pretty sure, I am certain that you will understand that you really are not the negative things that come across in your life, because you're going to end up becoming a statistic if you don't try that approach in your life. You're going to.
When I tell you my purpose source out there that I, each show, I grow a little bit more. I get a little bit more. I experience healing and overcoming.
Yes.
Like what you just said was so like hit nail on head.
Yes.
Like, yes, Jesus, my edges were snatched
Yes.
because
Yes.
life was interrupted, but I am not
Yes. Yes.
that act. We are not.
We are not. We survived that.
Lionesses
On the rise.
All right.
Yes.
And with that, we jump to a quick commercial break. More with the amazing Queen Ifrica on Chasing Purpose.
Definitely.
Welcome back to Chasing Purpose. We are discussing love, amongst other things, because to be honest, love is tied to many, if not everything. Right? And we're joined with the beautiful Queen Ifrica, who is dropping amazing gems and insight. Please, by all means, make sure that you're journaling and you're writing these things down. This is why Chasing Purpose was created, for us to be helping others. Our tagline is sowing seeds others can benefit from. So as we talk about love, right, in the state of where we are today, do you think in the world that we are in today that we can dispel hate with love?
Yes, I am the first, the strongest, the most genuine believer where that is concerned, because love really fixes everything. If you have a friend you have feud with for the longest while, a love alone can fix that. So it is the answer. It's the process that is the problem. And yes, it's the process of how it is that we get to this love. I don't hate my stepfather. I've learned so much from him in Rastafari, in Rastafarian faith, you know. He was one of the Rasta men that was beaten for 7 miles in the Carroll Garden incident. He was brutally dealt with as an individual, you know. A lot of some of these, as we were speaking about earlier, about incest and sexual assault, comes from our colonial past as well. So a lot of these things, you know, it is about how do we now forgive each other for the things that we have, you know, we have endured and seen, and then get to a point now of forgiveness to love, you know, because it's hard for people to forgive, you know. A person, somebody do somebody something, and you say forgive them, and them say you're mad. Am I grave me? You must. But when you forgive, there's this lightness. There's this thing that lifts off you, because you're not. Forgiveness is not for the person that hurt you. Forgiveness is for you, the person that's doing it. And so that's how we're going to get the love. You know, I mean, make we just stick to relationships and family, because if we're going to go community and the broader sphere of things, then we'd have to go back to the colonial days, and we'd have to forgive slavery and forgive each other for what happened in slavery. But let's talk about that immediacy in love and family and friendship and that kind of camaraderie. Begin there to forgive each other for the terrible things that we do to each other. Just get to that place where you can put the situation on the board, put what happened on the board, and say, this is what happened, this is the role I played, this is the role Tom played, this is 3 sides to the story, put all the sides there, break it down really and truly, truthfully, you know, and then put everything on the table, make everybody talk their piece, make everybody vent and say what they really feel, and I think that cold turkey approach, in opposed to getting therapists and getting somebody to intervene, you coming together and doing it, as I say, cold turkey, straight to the point. What is the issue? I think a lot of things can be gained in terms of us, you know, understanding what it means to love and forgive each other and move on from there without regurgitating and going back after we have come to a place of clarity, you know?
I agree with you. However,
yes,
we do the exact opposite.
And it's easy.
We do not speak to one another. So if I wrong you, you prefer go out the road and chat me, then come to me and say, you know what, Sin, I didn't appreciate how this was dealt.
Yes.
I didn't. And the more that you it festers. The more that you hold it, the further away we get from love.
And you look old and tired.
Yes.
And you look drag out. Yeah. So there's no real gain from walking around with a grudge and walking around with something that... Because let me tell you, it is okay to feel bad about something that happened to you. Dwelling on it becomes a problem.
Yeah.
You know, finding an excuse to hurt other people because somebody hurt you, that becomes a problem. So a lot of us as victims, we use our victimization, the things that happen to us, as weapons against the people around. You can't try to be like, how you did it when I got you, You understand what I'm saying? You use that as a weapon against anyone coming close to you. But really stop and check and see that, as we said before, not everybody in your surrounding is responsible for the things that happen to you. So don't put everybody in the situation. Find the target, the thing that is the problem, whether it's there in physical or it's just in your head, and deal with it. You know what I mean?
What major change had to take place within your life for you to find the love of your life?
Acceptance. Accepting everything for what they are. Because sometimes when a woman is abused, she feels like she's not a whole woman. She feels like something is taken away from her. It's very hard for that woman or man to date, to feel love. Love could be staring that individual straight down the face, and that individual be like, yeah, sure, because the last time I checked that, me did sure I love and I never eat. So in that case, it's hard for a woman to really love openly when she has been through a particular type of sexual attack. And so for that man that gets that type of woman too, he has a lot of work to do in terms of being patient, because for some of us, it's where you touch, it's how you touch, it's when, it's the type of hug. You have to plan it out. You have to make sure. And it's not a lot of men that can have that kind of patience, especially if they can move along as easy as they feel like and want to. And so love is such a beautiful thing in a situation like that, because in that case, love becomes unconditional. Love becomes really what it is supposed to be, because this man that has the option to do what he feels and to act how he wants, he's now figuring out how to be patient with you, to understand what is happening with you. And a lot of us as women too, we need to be a lot more appreciative when we come across men. It's not an obligation for a man to be nice to you, or anyone in that matter, for that matter. So when you have someone who sees all the foolishness about you, but is still willing to guide and to be there and to accommodate, you should see that as well, and just don't become a feminist overnight and the man can't understand. No, I want to reach him.
I can't say you want, but he'll be on the next episode. He'll be on the next episode. But fun and joke aside, Queen, fun and joke aside, you hit the nail on the head yet again. Yes. Because there are a lot of men out here that have decided, I'm looking at this woman out on road like, whoa, but they decided to love you and love you unconditionally. So we must applaud these men who are taking the time to listen, to talk, to go to therapy. That's what it is, to be patient.
And don't demonize them.
And don't demonize.
Call them gal clown.
Look here now.
Yes.
Let's not do that. That's a whole
stop.
other cheap chasing purpose.
Let's stop and give them credit where it's due.
Yes, you guys, you are to be applauded. We thank you, we thank you, we thank you.
Yes.
What is your secret to a long success love partnership?
Let me see now. Patience. Patience. And not just loving with expectations, but loving everything about the situation. Because you can't plan how love play out, you know. You cannot plan that. You know, so when especially like there with a real king, like a king with a throne, like a whole empire around it. It's not a little regular paper man. You understand what I'm saying? And for him to overs me and for me to overs him, I would first have to be the one to do the first overstanding. The woman is the one that controls what understanding in relationship means. A man can be as understanding as he wants and as he can be, but the ultimate understanding person in the relationship will be the woman, because she understands everything. She deals with everything, you know, so yeah.
Again, gems. Make sure, look here, not make sure you guys are journaling, and not just journaling, but apply these things to your life. What we're doing are planting seeds that you guys need to nurture. All right, Queen, as it pertains to purpose, and you're on this purpose, this journey with your king.
Yes.
Have you found that the love that you guys share has helped you along your journey?
Yes, definitely. I must say, big up yourself, Tony Rebel, anyway you turn up. That's what I say, a real general, because men go through so much bashing these days that you can't, it's like the good men them not about.
Yeah.
And
Actually,
I think
the
they are in the majority. Yeah. Good men are in the majority. The few careless ones, them are the ones who get highlighted because them always get picked. But the real gems, them, you know, the Tony Rebels and other good men.
And the Bobby Clark.
And the Bobby Clarks, who we know are, they're not perfect, they don't have the two big old nice white wing on them shoulder and so, but they have enough there that as a woman of my status, me a big celebrity myself, but my kingman, who is also a big celebrity himself, allow me. Not necessarily allow me because I him have to do it, but he enjoys the fact that he shares a relationship with a woman who is maybe of equal standard in terms of popularity, and it doesn't bother him as a man. You know, because a lot of men,
because that's a problem with a lot of
they are bothered by the strength of a woman, and they think it's her becoming more masculine than he has become. But it's a balance, and if the woman and the man can be strong beside each other in a relationship, a lot of things that I would want personally for myself in the relationship, I put it aside because it cannot happen in that moment. And so that is how you avoid a lot of stuff too, you know, by becoming selfless.
Yes.
Because a lot of us, when we drop in our relationship, we feel like everything should revolve around us. And how, as we have sex, this happening now, and before we had sex, we could have called you and get you any time. And as we have sex, we can't get. Because the man think you trust him now. The man think all is well, we're in the bag, and we're good, you know. Think that way as well. Don't be quick to say him get what he want now. Because if you are planning on going further with that man, it is going to bring doubts in that man's head. And man, I got be man. It doesn't matter how the times change and how we're saying women are strong now and man have to stand up on our back and look. Man have something where we make woman weak. It doesn't matter how strong and independent and no matter you see we have all we are one little man there. We end time I think them turn off, we round they can't wait for the January. So here goes the great strength of a woman talk. So it's a balance, you know. Me and Tony Rebel are brethren. We have a 20-odd years now. We have a 21-year-old daughter. We have a 9-year-old. You know, so I know yesterday we are tried together. He has other relationships, other children with other women. Yeah, you don't know where talk playing, and them now go to like Queenie, car Queenie come dropping at the picture and so shift up her bag of things and so. But at the end of the day,
but that was written. That was written. That was before.
It has nothing to do with us in the situation, and so sisters must learn as well, you know, to understand that. No man, no one, no woman, no woman, no one, no man is a coming together, and as long as we can last together, that is what the relationship is. You know, as long as we can accommodate each other, as long as we can love each other, that's what the relationship is, and it all comes with all of that.
You know what I loved you just said? You and Tony are brethren.
Yes.
That is so important.
It is.
That is so important to see each other as friends, as someone you can confide in, you can be your whole
everything
self,
is there. We talk about everything because, let me tell you something, sisters, again. We're not doing well at relationships because we're not accepting our roles in these relationships. The things that we are doing, sisters, you know, we have a lot of expectations, but we don't give a lot. And giving a lot don't mean taking care of the household and the children, you know, because whether you wish to accept it or not, I'm a full woman sitting here telling you that is a reason why the mothers have the children. You know, it's a reason why the Almighty look into it and say, all right, what are two of them? Which one am I going to make carry the children? I'm going to make the woman carry the children because something about her have a little more understanding, she more balanced, she can manage the full load. Does that? and we're good. You know, don't make it be that as the child born is the man. You're wicked, you're this, you're that. You come for the child. It's two away, Pitney. It's two away. Two of us have the child. The child not have nothing to do with how we work out. You know, so mom should be able to love the child, her love. The dad must be able to love the child, his love. Give the dad his turn with the child and stop using it against him.
Yeah, that's a whole issue that we have too, because we use the children as weapons. We weaponize the children.
And they were formed through love.
Through love.
Yeah.
Which is the basis of
Which is the basis. Chasing purpose, love. That's it. If you wanted that baby, if you wanted that man, it comes with all of that. So when the problems comes along, do not use the children as a weapon against the fathers, because the man is going to go where he can get about 4 more down the road. And he's not even knowing this. I get them as him go along.
Oh my goodness. All right. Do you believe in love language? And when I say love language, right, there seems to be there's a study out there where we each have love language. And the languages are word of affirmation, quality time, physical touch, acts of service, and gifts, right? Mm-hmm. In your relationship, do those things play a part?
Why? Let me see now. Me's not the kind of woman where you have to give rose all the while and carry out for dinner to make me feel feminine. Like, me so feminine, like, I would have prefer carry you out for dinner. That is how my femininity is strong. So, I like affection that is not calculated. I like when the simplest things where you do, like, me I cook and you go turn down the stove. You understand?
Simple.
Like simple that good for me. Like you notice, say, all right, she probably gone upstairs, gone do something, but me turn down the stove so that way she had no bird. That's love for me. A lot of people think it's the whole fanfaring and the whole, if he's not doing this because my friend had that yesterday, and then with social media now, and pull up with 2 rows and try impress. So all of us say, how come you never gave me rose? How come you never gave me this? How come? So, you know, love is not necessarily what you see people display. It's about that simple little picking a burr off our pants, you know what I mean, and seeing some simple little things. Me kind of good with that kind of love.
And let me just tell our females and our gents out there too, what you see displayed ain't really the fullness. I recently came upon an artist, right? She did these illustrations where half is on, and it's on Instagram. Mm-hmm. So what you see is she and the man hug up nice, but his hand is outside the frame holding on to a whole other woman. So let us be mindful that what happens on social media is not the fullness. And that's not how you should be guiding your life. With that said, look here now, Queen is taking us to school. We'll be right back, right? More Chasing Purpose. And we are back here on Chasing Purpose. We're going to get right back into our conversation because it is so spirited. I don't know why to the behind the scenes, okay? Look here now. All right, so we're talking about love and everything that goes into love, the good and the bad, the inners and the outers. Queen, how do you stay grounded in yourself with all the negativity that may come at you?
So when I look in the mirror, like the actual mirrors in the bathroom or in a bedroom, I don't just look at my face at a glance. I look into my pupils and into me. It is very difficult sometimes depending on the type of mirror you're using. And this might sound like, what is she saying? But just check this. You go into the mirror and you look into the mirror. You don't really see yourself, you know. It's when you stop at that mirror and really look back at those eyes that are looking at you through that mirror. And sometimes it's frightening when you really find that focus and look into those eyes, you know. There's so much to see there. And so that's where my groundation begins, because I am not just projecting what I want you to see. I am projecting what's inside me, what you should be seeing, you know. And so I would encourage anyone who is at a very dark place in your life, because I know what it feels like to be at a dark place with no answers. You don't know what to do next with yourself. But the next thing you can do is really, if you don't have a mirror, there's an inner one. There's an inner you There's an inner reflection of yourself. And it is in that, don't drink no alcohol, don't smoke, don't do no deep meditation, just go there. You know, just accept. And I tell you, I've been for more than maybe 20 years of my life then, you could say. I realized that you have to start that process because it doesn't matter how long you take to start. If you want to get to that place of completion, of clear, you have to start with self, with focusing on what acknowledging self means. Yeah.
With self-acceptance and really looking at yourself, we have this, call it good or bad, there's good and bad, you can take from it, social media, that would dictate to us what it is we should be looking for within ourselves, how we should see ourselves, how, you know, what the man that we should be looking for, or the body. Okay? The body. What do you say to the young girls, or even big women, that their sole purpose right now is that phone there and scrolling up, and that's how they guide their life?
So I'm going to use my beautiful daughter as an example, Tanzania, right? She's 21. So, you know, she's at that age. It's all about social media. It's all about looking pretty. It's all about getting out, getting on Snap, getting on IG, getting on all this kind of stuff, and this little cute little poses and what happened last night. But my thing to keep her grounded is to say, did you tidy your room before you took that phone up? Did you look around the things that were at your feet? Because the people looking at the thing on the screen, not seeing what's happening around your feet, the bag of clothes them when we need for washing at the machine and all that kind of stuff. So my thing to her is, make sure your reality is really intact. For real. Make sure that when you get up and turn on that phone and turn it on yourself and doing that whole selfie, that you understand what selfie really means. Because selfie is brushing your teeth, taking a shower, making sure your room tidy up, making sure your priorities are at 21, 22, 23, 24. You're supposed to be looking at what it is that you want to do with your life as an adult when all the frolicking is over and there's no more Wi-Fi and there's no more internet for you. Then when that reality comes, do you now become so frustrated with yourself that you feel like you need to crawl into your phone? Or you need to start now by understanding what reality really means, because all of what's happening on social, it's called social for a reason. Social. Look up the word social and you'll see what it means, you know. So, yeah, it's just keeping it real through everything. Don't put on a filter all the while for the camera when you take out the picture. Let the people them see your natural self every now and again. So that when they see you in real life, they can say, oh, you're the person. And then don't follow by saying, but you look different. You know, make sure you stay in touch with reality, with all of these virtual realities happening, because it's exactly what it is, virtual.
Yes, and from what I hear, that where we're going, we're gonna be even more immersed.
Eating a fake meal at marketplace, no free ad.
Like the world that we're going. I'm sure that there's good and there's bad. I say good and bad with it. It does help, but however, there are so many females that are just caught up,
and teenagers that they're losing their self-identity. They don't know what it means to be really beautiful. I see really beautiful girls who are now worried about themselves because they're thinking that they put up a picture and maybe 10 people like it, and like, how come only 10 people?
And then where are we with our values as parents, where our children are feeling like, all right, I want to get enough likes. No, look here now. Let me tell you a quick joke. My daughter went on my YouTube page and said, "Oh, Mom, you don't have a lot of followers." I was like, "Is that what? Is that the basis now? Is that where the benchmark is?"
And it is, and we can't fix it in terms of like calling these big tech peoples and telling them. We see all the documentaries of people who have tried to tell them to be responsible in their approach, you know, to having customers on their platforms or their sites that they give us to use. So we now can only use our platforms that we have. This beautiful sister has her program and she invites celebrities and people of influence to come here to talk to you guys, to tell you that it is not as real as it looks, and if you understand that you might live in a little situation like you want to be like a Beyonce or you want to be like a Rihanna. There's nothing wrong with wanting to be like the people you see looking successful on social media, but there's a process. They had to go through a process, and that process is hard work, dedication to the things that you want to do. So in other words, you're not opposed to posing yourself, being pretty with filters. Come up with ideas. Look at these beautiful little candle sets that we have here. Create ideas that you could bring to that said platform. You could monetize that.
Yes.
You could become billionaires on that same space. So it's about how you prioritize the things that you want for your life. And you can't blame your neighbor because your neighbor chooses to make some candles and you choose to pose on social media every day. There's a difference in how you do both things, So choose the one that you know will get you to that place that you really want to be.
Are you chasing your purpose, or have you found your purpose?
I am always in the process of chasing my purpose. I have so many things I want to accomplish. But I can say I am at a very good place in my life personally, where my darkness does not overshine my light anymore. My darkness is now memories. You have to get to that place where you turn your traumas into memories, and you don't bury them aside and then they surface back. You actually handle them, you deal with them, and that's what they are. They are memories, and in that case, you are now that light that can share memories about what it feels like to be in the dark,
And I'm just going to hand the floor over to you, although you've had the floor. Someone right now just heard you say that you were walking through darkness, but you now are overcome by light. Yes. Appeal to them. Let them know that that same darkness that they are dealing with right now, that heaviness, that burden is just for a time.
All right, so I'm going to take off a little pretty glass to that section here. Let me tell you. Just stop. Just let me use a little example, not to stretch it out too long. You get up this morning, you have many different layers of things that have been affecting you throughout your life, and you can't seem to find an answer. And everywhere you go, everybody gives you an idea. It lasts for a second and then it goes away, and you wonder still what's happening with you. The only thing I can say to you in that moment is to stop and accept. Stop and accept. Accept what, Queen? Accept what's happening. Accept what is happening. A lot of it is we do not accept what's happening, and so we try to ignore it. If you ignore it, you're only ignoring it because at the end of the day, you're still going to have to come back to deal with it. So stop, accept, start processing. After you accept, you put it on the table and you start processing. So tomorrow morning, if you wake up with that same dark, dirty feeling, then you now decide that it is in your power to change it. You can want it all you want, but that's why we love Nike, because Nike said, just do it. That's the only thing you can do. You can think about it. You can want it. You can yearn for it. What is in the moment when you begin to do it is when it begins to show. And so I'm just telling you what I did. I did it. I am doing it. And it is very enjoyable to find clarity for yourself, and don't mistake a way out for clarity, because you can create a way out, but that's not clarity. Clarity is all of it, understanding all of it, and moving with the process of fixing. We don't know how else to tell you, because there's not a lot of methods that can be used, because of one approach, and it's about self-acceptance and accepting what you did to get you where you at. Isn't it? Yeah, there's no other way around it.
So today's episode is about love. and I just want to say openly, I love you. I love what you stand for. I love what you represent. I love what you bring to the table. I love what you're putting out there. We need more of it. The world needs more love. At the heart, what we unearthed here today is through the rape, through the trauma, through all of the wrongs or the rights, love.
You can still give of yourself and give of yourself with love.
With love.
Yeah.
And love is the center of it all. So I really want to say thank you. Keep shining your light. Like, no, I'm like, maybe love our bad. What's next for Queen Ifrica?
You know, I'm just living in the moment, like I'm just experiencing the now. You know, there's a change happening in the world, and so music is such a great part of that change, and I'm so happy to be a part of the musical family and still having the ability to sing and to do music. So I'm in the process of doing another album right now, and I have a few singles that I'm trying to finish up to, you know, just to be in the space. I don't have a lot to prove to anybody, so I just try to be around, you know what I mean?
That's another touch point there. Like, a lot of us seem to want to be proving ourselves.
Yes.
You don't have to prove yourself. You hear what Queen said? You don't have to prove yourself.
No, just live in the moment, man, and just let it be.
Yes.
Yeah.
Just live and let be. I think if a lot of us adopt that mindset, we would be better off. Where can our viewers find you?
Well, I'm all over, you know, the social spaces that we just talked about earlier, the IGs and the Twitters, and, you know, at Queen Ifrica, you can just type Queen Ifrica, you find me on all of them. Yeah.
Our purpose point of view for today is, what would you consider to be the purest form of love?
The purest form of love for me is when a person puts aside physical attributes and more so focuses on the inner qualities that somebody has. And a lot of persons are always attracted to the physical, but the purest form is when you see that person's various characteristics and what makes them who they are, and just being able to love that person in every single way, in every aspect of who they are, understanding, you know, their, as I said, their attributes, their characteristics. That for me is the purest form of love, just understanding who they are as a person. And once you understand somebody and their beliefs, their value systems, you know, you have an understanding of things that people don't really have an understanding of, because a lot of persons only see the persona that is put out by any individual. But as a partner, as a friend, whatever it is, you know, you're able to see what other people can't see, is the purest form of love, and the kind that will make you go, as they always say, all out for a person, and just love that person unconditionally, and just know that you have that person's back 100%, because that is pure, that is genuine, that is what you seek to find in a person, the kind of person that is not hypocritical with certain aspects and tell you, you know, it's fine, but truth in fact it's not. You know what I mean? They love you for who you are and don't ever try to change you. That is the purest form of love. Someone who is always gonna have you back, always understanding of who you are, and a person that loves you unconditionally.
Again, much thanks to Queen Ifrica for being
My
here.
pleasure.
Heart of love. We must learn to affirm and show ourselves love each and every day. Say this with me and continue to say it to yourself daily. I love you. I love who you were. I love who you are. And I love who you are becoming. It is when you begin to understand that loving yourself first, wholly and unconditionally, that you will attract the love you are deserving of. As always, sow seeds others will benefit from. Wishing you love, light, and purpose. That's
perfect. It's almost as if we heard the interview and then we said that. Like, I don't care. I know I just mash up something a while ago. I had to say that.